In this video, we're going to talk about how to gain subconscious rapport with a complete stranger. In real estate, we're all in the business of helping other humans, so being able to get rapport is one of our main goals and main jobs. What I'm going to talk about today is really a light, brief introduction to what's called NLP, or Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Now, when you are with someone, it's much easier to do than when you're doing it over the phone, but I'm going to talk about both. Let's start with on the phone. When you are talking to someone on the phone, people like people who are like them or like they would like to be. And so what I mean by that, I didn't realize this early on, but when I was a young man, people would say, "You remind me of how I used to be." Sometimes I would think, I sure hope not. But the reality was that was a rapport establishing principle. So even if you're not exactly like them, if you are somebody that they would aspire to be, or even look back and say, "You're somebody who I was like," you're going to have this happen, and you're going to be able to establish this rapport. On the phone, you're going to want to mirror and match tonality and pace of speech, which is, if they're talking loud, you're going to want to talk a little bit louder. If they're talking fast, you're going to want to talk a little bit fast. If they're talking slow, you're going to want to talk a little bit slow. If they've got an accent, don't do this, okay?
This is my voice. Are you mocking me? Are you mocking me? Stop.
But you're going to want to do it in a way that's natural, that you can kind of mirror and match their tonality and pace of speech, so that you can form that subconscious rapport. When you're with someone, it's even easier. The first place to start is by matching their breathing. And it sounds crazy, but when you do this, and you do this for the first time, you're going to find out how powerful this is. So when you start matching their breathing, that's the first thing that you're syncing up with them. And on a subconscious level, their mind is thinking, this person is kind of similar to me. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to match and mirror their body language, which is going to feel completely hokey the first time you do it. So I suggest you do it in a way that you don't have anything at risk in the outcome. So do it with a stranger at lunch, do it with a spouse, do it with a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Do it with a family member, right? And what you want to do is you want to see where you start to lead them. So when you start to lead them, then you know that you've got that rapport established and you've got them synced up. And so what I mean by that is, if someone is sitting like this, you're going to want to sit like that, right? Or the exact same way, it doesn't matter. And so as you're talking to them, you're going to do this, you're going to keep talking to them, you're going to match their breathing, you're going to match their tonality, you're going to match their pace of speech. And when you start to move, maybe you move and you cross your arms, or you put your arms down like this, when they do the same thing, that's when you know that you've synced up with them and that you have that rapport established. Now, this is going to go a long way when you're giving a listing presentation, a selling presentation, or just giving them in general good advice about whether or not to buy or sell that home, or pricing, what have you. It just goes a long way as far as being able to communicate effectively, to influence people to make the right decision for themselves. And so these things are very powerful. I would invite you to watch some videos on NLP. I should have one in the link. Go and do a Google search on it, research it yourself, and then test this stuff. Test it out and see how powerful it is. I know it sounds crazy, but just suspend your disbelief long enough to try it, and I think you'll become a believer in it too, and I think you'll use it, and what happens is it becomes naturally a part of who you are. It becomes a part of your subconscious. Again, your positioning becomes your position, and you'll just start to do this naturally when you're talking to and dealing with people. You won't even realize that you're doing it. For some of the most natural salespeople out there, they already do it. They're just not conscious of it. So having that awareness makes it more purposeful, makes it more powerful, and it makes you, again, more influential when you're dealing with clients and you're dealing with the general public.